Don't you just love it when you're at work and you constantly hear your coworkers speaking to Siri, like, hey Siri, can you respond? Or Siri, can you read that text for me? I feel like at some point, even Siri's gonna be like, get to work, please. It's not even an important text, okay? It's like your grandmother saying, good morning, honey. I hope you have a good day. Like, you're not that important, okay? Stop bothering Alexa. She has way more important things to take care of, like taking over the world. I don't know. Anyways, all jokes aside, let's get straight into today's video. We're actually going to be talking about a line that I don't usually cover too consistently, but as I said before on the channel, and I'll continue saying it, I want to start covering more and more manufacturers. If people will watch it, I'll talk about it. It's plain and simple. And this is definitely one of those manufacturers that I'm keeping my eye on and, well, added to the list of manufacturers that I actually really want to collect, and I have like a little bit of a wish list going. We'll eventually get to that stuff in the foreseeable future, but today I wanted to talk about this new ThreeZero DLX Iron Man Mark 6 battle damaged version, and this is, if I'm not mistaken, based on Iron Man 2, I think is where the Iron Man Mark 6 makes its appearance. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I actually don't mind Iron Man 2. It's not like a perfect MCU film, but I'll watch it. It's still fun. It's enjoyable. Stop hating on it, please. But seriously, this figure does come with a ton of really cool features. It actually comes with about 6 interchangeable hands, flying effect pieces for both of the feet as well as both of the hands, some shoulder missiles, some laser beam effects. The list goes on and on. Some great effect pieces. It is also worth mentioning that it does have some LED features for the eyes and the arc reactor on his chest, so those do have some light up features. The figure is also made of zinc alloy and some other weird materials. I'm not too familiar with metals and things of that nature, but it essentially gives it that appearance of being like a hard metal. It doesn't look like an action figure in certain shots. It looks like an actual Iron Man suit. It has that glossiness. It has that very metallic look. Now, I'm not sure where all the points of articulations come from with this particular figure, but in the description, they do make a mention of saying that it comes with 48 points of articulation, which is pretty high even for an imported action figure. Sometimes you get a lot of these imported characters or figures with like maybe high 30s to low 40s. 48 seems to be kind of a high number for an action figure. And if you're not too familiar with the ThreeZero line, they actually have done quite a few MCU action figures, and more specifically, they've done more than a handful of live action MCU Iron Man action figures. So it's safe to assume that yes, they are reusing certain body parts, whether that's limbs, legs, arms, maybe a torso here and there, but for the most part, each one of them stands on their own. Especially if you're a big giant MCU fan, you'll know the difference between, let's say, like a Mark 6, a Mark 2, a Mark 4, which is essentially what they've been offering, like different color variations. Sometimes they'll give you a regular version and then a battle damaged version. They even did a black and gold accent Mark 7 Big Bad Toy Store ThreeZero Iron Man not too long ago. It looks phenomenal. All of these come, as I said, they probably have interchangeable pieces. They probably have very similar effect pieces as well, but they look phenomenal. They appear to display incredibly well, and I'm quite surprised at the level of articulation here, especially for an armored character. Usually if it's like Hasbro or one of the lower end lines, they usually cut down on articulation if it's a heavier or a suited character, but here it's the complete opposite. They're going all out with this particular version of Iron Man. It looks brilliant. As I said, if you guys want to take a closer look at it, it is available through Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store. And just an FYI, it is definitely a more expensive collectible. You're looking, depending on where you're picking them up from, but you're looking to pay about like, you know, $80 to about $110 because it is imported from overseas. But I will say you definitely get your money's worth with a lot of these collectibles. If you have the extra dough, if you have the extra cash, and you love collecting stuff like Mafex, Mezco, SH, this is a perfect opportunity for you. They definitely craft these collectibles with a ton of love. I've seen quite a few unboxings and reviews, and they usually get like raving reviews. And even if you're just curious and you want to check out the manufacturer, I highly suggest you guys do. I actually did a video not too long ago where I broke down different releases from them. They had a bunch of Iron Man action figures. I think they even have a Black Panther, a Spider-Man, so on and so forth. They do a phenomenal job with their releases. They're even working on Mega Man simultaneously with Jada Toys. They're a little bit on the pricier side than Jada Toys, but honestly, at this point, they're very close to each other in price point. I think Jada Toys is selling their Mega Man collectibles for about $30, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, ThreeZero is offering a lot of their Mega Man action figures for about like $40 to $45, which isn't really that much of a difference. You guys can kind of compare them. I think the ThreeZero Mega Man action figures are based on later video games. I think Jada Toys is working on the earlier entries into the Mega Man franchise. But as I said, you guys have to do your own investigation. I'm not going to tell you what to buy or what not to buy. All I'm saying is, here is a new collectible. Check it out. Check out ThreeZero. Show them a little bit of love. Even if you don't pick up any of the collectibles, you can add them to your card or your wish list. And then, eventually, if you run into a little bit of a bonus, or if you decide to spend a little bit more, treat yourself to a new collectible. You guys can definitely pick up one of these ThreeZero action figures for sure. And as always, let me know your thoughts down below. Have you ever picked up any of these ThreeZero action figures? What's your personal experience? Do you already have this on pre-order? Have you had any problems or any issues with this line? I'm actually genuinely curious to see what everybody has to say, so let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, if you guys enjoyed this type of rambling action figure content, make sure to stay tuned. We do it pretty consistently. On a side note, I do plan on switching up the content as much as I can within the next couple of weeks. I plan on doing more action figure hunts. I plan on doing a few more unboxing, reviews, things of that nature, just to kind of switch it up. It feels like I've been complaining and ranting for far too long over the past couple of weeks. And, I don't like to be predictable. I don't like to just bash the same thing to death. I'm going to try to switch it up. So hopefully you guys stick around for that. I do feel like it's starting to slow down because of San Diego Comic-Con essentially being over. It feels like everybody just brought out their top guns. Everybody brought out their big collectibles of the year, at least up to this point in the year. I think they might have even announced stuff that is set to come out within the next few years, headed towards the holiday season. I think they'll still have a few releases here and there, but for the most part, it's definitely slowing down. It feels like you have to dig a little bit deeper for news or new reveals or things of that nature. Also, on another side note, I know we have a ton of side notes here today, but also it is worth mentioning that we are getting a lot of new looks at collectibles or action figures, but it's usually just like a quick little teaser image. It doesn't showcase the full action figure. It doesn't showcase the extra heads, the extra accessories, hands, and things of that nature. And so usually I tend to stay away from that. I want like the full-on release. So there are some like Mortal Kombat teases here and there, and I do plan on covering that eventually. But for the time being, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to be patient because I don't want to talk about just one image from McFarlane for like 10 minutes. It just doesn't make any sense. Once they actually release or reveal what it is that the figure is going to come with, then we'll come back around and do, a full dissection of the releases. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe out there. Make sure to enjoy the hobby, pose your action figures, play around with them. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.